So Marvel. When we say the word Marvel, we think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We think of the utter brilliance and tenacity that everyone is trying to model now. Some of the best movies being released. The overarching landscape, the sheer level of creativity that it takes to pull all of these films together and every single one of them be top notch, entertaining on every level. But what a lot of you may not know is that Marvel Comics, for which all of these movies are based on, the past couple of years has been imploding. Now, I'm not going to get into the commentary as of why, except to say that they keep mucking around with their original title characters. They're mucking around with Thor, with Iron Man, with the Hulk, with Spider-Man, and most recently, they have made Captain America a Nazi sleeper agent. Just chew on that for a second. Captain America has been a Hydra agent all this time. And Marvel's doubled down on this. They have said, no. I mean, when people are like, come on, what's the angle here? When's the other shoe going to drop? When are you going to get Captain America back to normal so we can start reading the story and enjoying it again? And Marvel, it was reported, said that no, he has been a Hydra agent all this time. They've doubled down on this. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate this. I hate their story. I hate what Marvel is doing. I hate what Marvel is doing to their characters. Again, I'm not going to get into the whys and the speculation that a lot of people are getting into. I encourage you to look for yourself. It's a disaster. It's a mess. And this is like the icing on the cake. So, bleedingcool.com, this is where I'm getting the story from, reported that Marvel had a plan to get comic shop employees everywhere to wear Hydra shirts to promote the storyline, their massive storyline for the summer, Secret Empire. It's part of Marvel's overall quote-unquote Hydra takeover marketing gimmick that has been as well received on social media as well as Secret Empire itself, which is to say, not very well. Bleeding Cool says, for some reason one we can't quite put our finger on, people are uncomfortable with this. What could it be? And the reaction to this has been overwhelmingly negative. And just to break it down in case you're not familiar with what Hydra is, Marvel is asking all the comic book store employees to dress like Nazis. Hydra was a branch of the Nazi regime. And Captain America has been the champion against Nazis and totalitarianism, and he has been the champion of freedom and, just as patriotic and American as apple pie, and Marvel turned him into a goddamn Nazi. So, that has not gone over well, and basically the reports, the responses on Twitter were brutal. I mean, brutal. They list off someone who says, this is from Mary, at, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this, Sapphic Geek. As someone who works in a comic store, Marvel can bleep off with this nonsense. My grandfather was an Allied soldier captured by the Nazis. Next you have Glamour Toad. This is at Nikki Coley on Twitter. We've also been asked to change our store logos to Hydra symbols. My staff are LGBTQ, Jewish, or both. We are no longer hand-selling Marvel. Way to go, Marvel. And then this guy, Jason Heller, at Jason M. Heller on Twitter, says, as someone who used to manage a comic store, I would simply like to say, bleep this. One person supported it. Turns out he's a neo-Nazi on Facebook, so yay. So Marvel, better straighten up, sons. Better straighten up. Let this crap go. Give us back our normal characters. Now, see, my speculation into all this, I think Marvel started mucking around with their characters because at some point the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to have to change. This is my thoughts. This is my opinion. Blah friggin' blah. I think that what we're looking at is them trying to gear up for the casting changes that are eventually going to come in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Robert Downey Jr., for instance, is probably, I mean, he's pulling in 50 to $100 million a film now. Can you imagine what he has negotiated for the Avengers film, or what he would negotiate for the films to come after that? And you've got, of course, for every film that comes out, and especially every film that comes out that's a success, the talent is going to want more money. They just are. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, they're earning it. I'm not begrudging that at all, but eventually it will get too expensive. The budget for the Avengers film is reportedly, and I don't have the source in front of me, but your Google works for everybody. It is reportedly upwards of $1 billion. That's 1 billion with a B, and a lot of that is salary and back-end royalties. Eventually they're going to have to retire these characters, or retire these actors playing these characters eventually. Now, will that be a reboot? I think maybe, to finish off my speculation, I think maybe they were trying to aim for a different angle than just simply rebooting the stories. And I understand that, because they've laid so much groundwork. You want to keep maybe propelling off of that and keep telling stories. You don't want to go backwards, you want to go forwards, and I'm with them on that. But their choices of changing the characters and the level of respect, or the lack thereof, that exists in the pages of the comic books, they've made the comics the slave to the films. If this is what they've done, if my speculation is correct, they have gone backward. And rather than keep sourcing the books and respecting the books in the films, as they've done up till now, and in the Netflix series, I mean, pretty much in every work they've done, they have respected their source material. They've completely disrespected it, because they are now bowing the books to the movies and trying to gear you up and plant seeds for recasting in the future. It has not worked. Now, how in God's name making Steve Rogers a Nazi plays into that, I have no idea. And frankly, I don't care. It was a stupid, stupid, stupid story, and I hate it with every bit of my being. And this is coming from a guy that is a casual Captain America fan. I hate it. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let me know what yours is in the comment section down below. Well, let's talk. Let's go back and forth. So, all right. In other Marvel news that may or may not relate to what I've just said, this comes from comicbook.com. And I quote, Kevin Feige doesn't know if the MCU will get a Phase 4. Now, this is where they're at. And now, this isn't really too much news. Feige just basically said, we don't know yet. And to me, they're feeling it out. Because, again, the actors are getting really expensive, and frankly, they're getting older. At some point, you have to retire a character. Not everyone is Hugh Jackman. Not everyone can play the character for 17 years. Here, I'll give you a quote. I think he did an interview with Collider, according to comicbook.com. If you want to check that out, he says, We've been lucky that contract expirations haven't factored in too much. We've had people under contract for certain films, then we've had new ideas and new directions like Civil War, like we wanted to do, and we've been lucky enough to make new contracts. Or Spider-Man Homecoming. The cast has been awesome in their enthusiasm for the direction and the storylines that we're telling. So it really does right now all start with where we want to take the stories, he explained. He goes on to say, certainly as we get to Infinity War, there is a sense of a climax, if not a conclusion to, by the time we're at Untitled Avengers 4, the 22 movies that will have encompassed the first 3 phases of the MCU. And what happens after that will be very different. I don't know if it's Phase 4, it might be a new thing. Now, I personally, I love the films. I love what they've done with the characters. I love everything so far, to varying degrees, but I still think the level of excellence and the talent that they pulled together has just been staggeringly consistently good. But I am actually, as of right now, my mind might change, but as of right now, I am in favor of them changing things up. I'm in favor of them starting over and maybe branching off into new things. I think that would be good. I think, by the time you get to 22 films, I think you've kind of told the story. Considering that all these stories kind of, revolve around the Infinity Stones as the MacGuffins of the story, Infinity War seems like a logical place to wrap that up. So let me know what you guys think. Would you like to just see these movies rebooted? or do you want to see new characters come in and have these mantles passed on to them? I like to say that I'm flexible and I'm willing to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but if their handoff is anything like the comic books, trust me, if you don't read the comic books, that is probably something that you will not want. That reboots are the better way to go. So we'll see. They've got time. Maybe they'll figure it out. These guys have been really, really, really good so far. So I don't want to say that I don't have any faith in what they're going to do, because I totally have faith in what they're going to do. When we come back, we are going to talk the new X-Men film. Stay tuned.